Welcome to Exploring A Course in Miracles Shorts, where Robert and I take you into course scribe Helen Schucman's original notebooks and through material that has been restored in the complete and annotated edition of A Course in Miracles. In this first episode, we are covering the first line of the course, which many believe is there is no order of difficulty in miracles, but that's not what's reflected in Helen's notebooks, right, Robert?
That's right. Yeah. So let me go ahead and show you a photocopy of her very first notebook page. And there at the very top, you see the date, October 21st, 1965. You see a number 1, and then you will see miracles through your hands through me, period. That's followed by the following AM. This is in the morning. Another number 1. And here we have the familiar first principle of miracles. But the first thing to remember about miracles is that there is no order of difficulty among them. So that's the familiar beginning of A Course in Miracles, the one that's printed in everyone's books. And yet before that is this enigmatic line: you will see miracles through your hands through me. I find that very interesting. The very first line of A Course in Miracles has somehow managed to completely drop out of everyone's book.
Robert, did you think that it was originally intended to be a miracle principle because of that number 1 at the top?
Well, that's definitely the impression given. I mean, number 1 suggests it's the beginning of a numbered list, and then what follows is a numbered list. It just has a new number 1. And even by the end of the very first page of the course's dictation, that new number 1 about no order of difficulty is treated as the number 1. So after principle 3, he says, A, check back with 1. This explains the lack of order. So even by the end of this brief first page, the familiar first principle of miracles is treated as the first principle, as number 1. However, that doesn't erase this line.
The importance of this line. Yeah. So where did we lose it? It appears in the text where Helen transcribed to Bill and he typed it up, but then where does it disappear?
Right. In the text, it's part of the introduction. So it actually precedes this first principle of miracles. Okay. And by the time we get to what Helen and Bill called the Hugh Lynn version or Hugh Lynn Casey version, it was gone. And in between the text and the Hugh Lynn version was what Ken Wapnick called the second draft. And we've never seen that. So we don't know if it made it into the second draft or if it didn't. But by the time we got to the Hugh Lynn Casey version, it's gone entirely.
But we know it was intentionally cut because at one point he says, I repeat, you will see miracles through your hands through me. And that was cut as well.
Right. So they took this line out of the introduction. And then there's a later reference to it where he says, I repeat, etc. And they took that out too, because it wouldn't make sense for him to say, I repeat, and then quote something he never said in the first place. So yeah, it was intentionally cut, but we don't know why. We don't know exactly when. Yet we can
Look
still
at it.
appreciate,
It's
yeah,
beautiful.
it's a very impactful line. It's a powerful way to begin A Course in Miracles, and it signals something about the nature of A Course in Miracles that is quite important. First of all, it signals that miracles are something you will see through your hands. They're something behavioral. Secondly, it says that they come to us from Jesus, who is, of course, known as history's greatest miracle worker. So the suggestion is that we are going to be, in some sense, continuing the work that he did, basically with his help. We, like him, will be giving miracles through our hands, and we will have him as the sort of invisible source of our miracles. And given that a first line like this is so important, this communicates something quite dramatic and significant about the whole nature of the Course in Miracles that follows.
Yeah, because it says you will see miracles And then if you think of miracles as a shift in perception, well, then that doesn't necessarily apply as well. I know that
Doesn't fit at all.
it doesn't fit. And so if we go on to read miracles as expressions of love, which is how they're primarily defined in the miracle principles, then this first line makes a ton of sense because it's behavioral.
Right, right. I mean, if it said you will see miracles in your mind through me, that would fit
Mm-hmm.
our usual concept of a miracle as a shift in perception. But obviously, seeing miracles through your hands, it suggests that they are something you do.
Yeah, well, very, very glad that this line is back. And in fact, I'm looking here at the page where it says this is A Course in Miracles. Please take notes. I think a lot of
Hmm.
people think that was probably the first thing Helen scribed. So we're probably surprising a lot of people here.
Yeah, well, that's how they told the story. That's how Helen and Bill told it, that this line, this is A Course in Miracles, please take notes, was the very first thing. And it was close to the first thing, but not
But
quite.
not quite. Not quite. Well, I'm glad that this line is restored, and I'm sure I speak for a lot of students when I say that. Thank you, Robert.
Yeah, fascinating.